Hi everyone, welcome to Girl. My name is Patricia Hanbidge, and many of the people that I know, especially for many years, call me Patty Plant. So anyway, thanks for taking time out of your busy schedule and joining me for learning how to plant spring flowering bulbs. Spring or summer flowering bulbs. Summer flowering bulbs are bulbs that bloom in the summer and don't need any kind of cold stratification or cold period in order for them to get ready to grow, which is kind of cool because we're all usually familiar with tulips and crocuses and that kind of thing, and they need a period of cold in order for them to initiate the bloom. So crocuses and tulips and all those spring flowering bulbs are needing to be planted in the fall. And if you didn't plant them in the fall, because I actually have some tulip bulbs that I'm going to plant out, but they've been in the fridge all winter long because they're special tulip bulbs that commemorate 75 years of since the invasion of Holland in the Second World War. But anyway, back to summer flowering bulbs. I have some Oriental lilies, and these, as you can see, have already started to grow. Oriental lilies are usually not really hardy where I live, which is unfortunate because I love having any kind of lilies in the garden, but Oriental lilies have a beautiful tropical scent, which is frankly quite heavenly. So I plant these every year, and I do lift them and bring them in the fall before it gets real cold because they're quite spectacular. So let's just back up a little bit and talk about lilies in general. And so we have a lot of lilies that we can grow here that are perennial in nature, and those can be planted out in the spring or the fall. It doesn't matter. As I said, they don't need any special treatment before they actually bloom. And here, because of our climate, they need to be planted 6 or 8 inches deep in order to survive our winter. But again, they have to be hardy cultivars, so that's kind of cool. We do have a couple of the Oriental lilies that will survive here, but every once in a while you'll see that they will give up the ghost as well. So these Oriental lilies are Casablanca, and I also have a variety of Stargazer lilies, which are also kind of cool as well. So as you can see, I've got a bit of a pot here, and so I'm going to take the lily, and of course, if you haven't ever planted a bulb before, they're a special structure that allows the plant to feed out of a larger structure than a seed. And it's very important when you plant anything that is a bulb or a corm or a tuber that after it blooms, you let the foliage live so it can feed the bulb, so that it has enough energy next year to give you that beautiful color and scent as well. So bulbs have a top and a bottom. It's kind of important, even though plants generally know what is up and what is down because of gravity. So the bottom of the bulb, you can see sometimes some hairy tissue, sometimes not, depending. So you want to make sure you plant that down, and the shoot tissue you want to plant up. So let's see if I can find a bulb that isn't growing. Well, here's one that hasn't actually started. So you can see that it does look kind of like an onion. It's got a lot of scales on it, and the pointy end of the bulb is generally up, and the flatter end is generally down. So when you plant them, you want to actually, there, I'll plant this one here. Dig down. This is going to be in a pot. It's going to be lifted in the fall, so I'm not so concerned about it being able to overwinter. So in this case, I've got about a 20-inch pot, and I'm going to plant 3 of the beautiful Casablanca lilies. Oh, what happened there? Sorry about that, folks. I'm going to plant 3 of the Casablanca lilies in this pot. I've never been too tall. Anyways, I'm going to plant 3 of these Casablanca lilies in the center of the pot, so that there we go. I'm going to plant 3 of these Casablanca lilies in the center of the pot, root side down, and cover them over with media. Because this is a pot that I want to enjoy throughout the summer season, I'm also going to add a few other things. So here I've got a trailing lobelia. So this has a nice beautiful blue tint to it. And as you can see in some of my other videos, when you have a little bit of root boundness, you just break it apart and then place it. These I want to trail over the edge, so I'm going to place it quite close. So when the lilies come up, they're going to be quite spectacular, and they are going to be quite tall. I'm just going to pull this up again. So the lilies are going to be quite tall, so I've got them in the center of the pot, and then I'm going to have the other material around. So it's really important when you're planting lilies to think about what they're going to look like. If you're planting them in a border, they're only really attractive. The Asiatics and the Oriental lilies, which are two of the very common lilies that you can grow, the foliage is really not that attractive. It's the color that's attractive. Your Asiatic lilies, which we have a lot of cultivars that are hardy here, can be planted at any time, but to the mid or back of the border, because like I said with the bulbs, you need to have them be able to feed the bulb and die down naturally instead of just kind of make them disappear. So if you have something tall growing around them, it will help to mask the less attractive season when they're blooming. With the Oriental lilies, they'll bloom in about July. Asiatics will usually bloom, in June, sometimes different cultivars at a different time. And in this container that I'm planting, to help disguise it, I've got some other things like stalks, which is again another scented plant. And I have one of my favorites. This is Nicotiana. So Nicotiana is another scented annuals. These are both annuals. So this whole pot that I'm planting up is going to have annuals in it. So just while I'm talking, I'm going to keep planting because that's I want you to be able to see the finished product. So if you're growing summer flowering bulbs, get them planted and outside once the weather has warmed up a little bit. Where I am right now, the daytime temperature is only about 11 or 12, 13. The nights are actually getting down to close to freezing, which is quite chilly for anything that is kind of a little more tropical in nature. So the lilies haven't sprouted yet, but they will. They'll come up. They will grow with the tallest part of the pot. They will be the tallest part of the pot, and so they'll look pretty cool. But around it, I wanted to have a little bit of attraction as well because, gosh, in the summertime, I like to be outside as much as possible. And so I want to see attractive things all around. So if you are planting your summer flowering bulbs in containers, it's okay to overplant a little bit because you want that pot to be very full and allow it to look beautiful. I just want to pull this down so you can see the pot. So it's a nice clay pot. It's blue in color, so I chose Nicotiana, which is it's a sapphire blue. It's a trailing. Oh hi, I just had some people sign in. Hello, welcome. So I like to have beautiful colors together. The star of this pot is going to be the Oriental lily, but I added some other scented material and beautiful materials so that it would look attractive throughout the growing season. So when you're planting summer flowering bulbs, again, don't put them out until it's a little bit warmer because they do like warmer daytime highs and not so low daytime lows. So when it's -1 or so at night, it's a little too chilly for them. Lift them in the fall before it gets real cold. And gosh, thank you for joining me. If you like these videos, they will be on Facebook and then on my YouTube channel, Grow, and I've got the link on the Facebook page. If you have other questions or comments, please reach out to me, and if there's any subject matter you want to see covered, then let me know about that too. So until I see you next time, stay safe, be happy, and let's get growing.